We all love Starbucks seasonal pastries, but their cheese Danish is one you can enjoy all year round, unless you're low carb. That's why today we're making a homemade low carb version. Now, growing up, I used to go to gas stations, bakeries. I'm talking about any bakery that sold Danishes, that's what I would be ordering. So when I started a low carb diet, that was literally off the menu. I recipe tested so many different Danish recipes, and this is the closest to the real deal. So we're first gonna start off with our dough. Now, this is very, very simple ingredients. This is an almond flour based dough. So we're gonna start off with our tapioca, and we're gonna toss this right into our almond flour. Now, tapioca flour is more on the low carb side. I wouldn't say it's necessarily like a keto friendly flour because it does have more carbs in it, but it is a much, much healthier flour, and it is still a low carb recipe. So we're just gonna give that a good mix. We are adding in a little sweetener and some warm water. Now, you do wanna make sure that your water is warm. I actually just tossed this in just to make sure that it doesn't need to be boiling hot, just a little more than warm. Okay, so we're just going to give this a good mix until we form our dough. And what we're gonna do is set this in the fridge. We're gonna let it set. Meanwhile, we make our cream cheese filling. So as you can tell, it comes together right away. I mean, this is a very, very simple recipe. I love that it's very minimal ingredients. You literally just need your almond flour, tapioca flour, a little sweetener, and the sweetener is obviously optional, but I just like, it gives it like a little hint of sweetness, and your water. So it's really just two main ingredients. So here is our dough. So you can take a look at it. It's beautiful, nice and smooth. And it's gonna go right into the fridge, and we're gonna get started on our filling. Now, while our dough is setting in the fridge, we're gonna go ahead and get started on our cream cheese filling. Now, I put this in the microwave for about 20-30 seconds. And as you can see, it is like velvety smooth. Look at that. Beauty. Okay, now Starbucks uses a reduced fat cream cheese, so that's what we're using here. You can obviously use your cream cheese of choice. I'm sure you could even use a dairy-free cream cheese, but we're just going with the reduced fat so that we can, get it as close to the Starbucks Danish as possible. So we have our softened cream cheese. We're gonna go ahead and add in our sweetener. We have 1 egg yolk, some vanilla extract, and some fresh squeezed lime juice. So our filling is all done. Now let's go get our dough and start making our Danishes. So I want to show you the texture. It is now a lot more manageable. Just rolling it out. I'm gonna try to roll this out in between 2 pieces of parchment. Okay, so I already have this laid out here. So we have our parchment, dough, parchment. Now, let's go ahead and roll it out. Our goal is to try and get like a rectangular shape because we are gonna get squares out of this. Now, of course, these are your cheese Danishes. If you wanna make little circles, if you wanna make, whatever you want, it is up to you. But my goal is to roll it into a rectangle. And you can just use a bench scraper to smooth it out. And if, sometimes you get a little bit more dough in the center, so then just use it to like push it to wherever you need it. I feel like this looks smooth enough. Now, you can always make them thinner, especially if you're gonna do the shape that I'm doing where you don't actually have to enclose the entire Danish. You can make a lot more of them. So if you're trying to do kind of portion control or do like little minis, you can, just kind of spread out your dough even more, and then you're gonna get a lot of little Danishes. Let's go ahead and reveal. Yes, it looks good to me. And now we can use the same bench scraper to make some nice even cuts. Okay. Now to shape our Danish, what we're gonna do is fold in our corners. So, and this dough is very manageable, so you don't have to worry too much about that. So this is the shape that we're going for. Now I'm gonna go ahead and fill it with our cream cheese filling. I'm using a little mini ice cream scooper. Like that. Okay, now before these go into the oven, and make sure that your oven is preheated to 350 degrees. Mine is nice and hot. We need to brush these with an egg wash. Now it is optional, but remember with the egg wash, you're always gonna get that like golden brown color that you see in pastries when you walk into like a bakery. So I wouldn't skip on this. All it is a little egg and a tablespoon of water. Okay, and now we're just gonna get our pastry brush and we're just gonna brush it along our Danish dough. I like to really just kind of, I'm not skimpy when it comes to this because I really just love that color that it gives it. Okay, now these are going into the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes and I cannot wait to show you how these turn out. So I was gonna try and eat this nice and proper with my little, you know, fork and knife, but that's not how I typically eat Danishes. So we're just gonna go in for the bite. And I love how structured this is. It has really good structure. It's not like all flimsy. So cheers. Okay, so the flavor is on point. I love this dough. I will say I made it a little too thick for a Danish, but if you love, like, you know, with a pie crust, some people love like a nice thick crust. I'm more of a thin crust type of person. Like I want to taste more of the filling versus the dough. I feel like I feel the same way about the Danish. The filling, amazing, 10 out of 10. The flavor's there, it's creamy, it's sweet, not too sweet. The dough, it has a really nice crisp on the outside, and you do get a softness on the inside that you would expect from a cheese Danish. I just feel like it's a little too much. So I would personally make them just a little bit thinner. Other than that, guys, this is a cheese Danish. Like it doesn't taste healthy. It just tastes delicious. Like it tastes like a regular Danish. I would just say it has a little bit more of like a crisp on the outside. But personally, I'm that person. I love like cookies that have like more of a crisp on the outside, brownies. Like I'm always getting the edges of like brownie, cookies, cakes and stuff like that. But overall, this is absolutely amazing. I can't even believe it's low carb. If you love cheese Danishes and you miss them, go make these right now. I'm telling you, you're not gonna regret it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the recipe in the description below. If you guys love this video, make sure you show me some love and hit that like button. Share this recipe with friends and family that are living a low carb lifestyle or that you know would just absolutely love a healthier version of a Starbucks cheese Danish. Guys, thanks so much for being here. I love you and I'll see you on my next video. Mwah.